everybody, this is Yogi Angel 7 Rachel. So I'm gonna try to talk over everything and everyone that's going on over here. Yes, it's a mess, sorry. Today is definitely a day of things that I thought were like completely impossible, and apparently they are, and I just had no idea. So last night I started to feel really sick. And it started definitely as a stomach ache, so I knew my immune system was not doing right. So I went to bed very early, like 10 o'clock, and I never do that. I always go to bed between like 1 and 3 in the morning, so I wasn't feeling well. And then when I woke up, I was incredibly weak. And I was starting to seize up on my left side, and I thought, okay, I'm about to have another episode. So I was just trying to kind of lay low and not really do anything. And I was thinking about, okay, well, gosh, then, I'm probably not going to be able to go to the church or whatever. So that was kind of disappointing. And I was thinking, all right, well, I'll just have to deal with that and go another day. So I was kind of just hanging out at home, just trying to be really relaxed and try to get the feeling back to left side. So I did take some medicine, but stuff that I could drive with. So and a couple of natural medicines and a couple of prescribed. So I was just laying there, and inside my head I just kept like chanting and thinking certain things, and well, actually it was Latin anyways. So finally, I don't know, I got up and I changed Jasper's diaper, and then all of a sudden I was like getting dressed and I was ready to go. And I put on my skirt and my jacket, and yes, I wore my little babushka. And so I set off to go. And at first I was like asking my husband, should I go, this and that? And he's like, well, only if you feel right to go or whatever. So I finally did feel healthy enough, and I did. So I told you that I just thought I wouldn't even be able to walk in, that I would just probably cry the whole time, that I would flip out if anybody tried to shake my hand or touch me, and that I was really more than nervous, just absolutely, yeah. And none of that happened. Instead, I was able to get there really easily. I got a very close parking spot, so I didn't even have to walk very far. And even like the first person I met outside of the church, it's like I actually met his eyes, and I usually don't do that. I'm usually kind of down a bit. But I didn't. This time I smiled, and he smiled at me, and so it's been different from the get-go. So I walked in there, and in the hallway, the portico before, I saw an icon, and it was gorgeous. And then I walked past the tree that was all lit up, and it was really beautiful. And I could smell all the incense. And it's odd because it's very similar to what I burn at home with essential oils, because I'm always trying to do things that help either the immune system or cleansing and stuff like that. And that was what they were burning there. It was very, very interesting to me. Just a little interesting, I don't know. So, my head was covered, and I looked in, and it was ortho, so I knew I could go in. And I just couldn't even sit down. Walking in there, was remember when I was talking about that there was this warmth in my heart and torso? Well, this was the warmth went through me in both directions, all the way up through me. And just being in there was tremendous. And the choir Well, first let me tell you, I mean, there were people of all different colors and descriptions there, and people were in all different various states of dress. And I was impressed by that because, you know, I'm used to being with zealots who everything's covered, and, you know. So, and it was funny because I did sort of think to myself, oh, I should sit on the one certain side. And it was men and women were mixed, so that was unique to me. And yeah, the women were singing in a choir, and that that was amazing. So, you know, all of it wasn't like being in a church of any kind that I've ever been before, which is, like I said, you know, whenever I would go to a church, I'd feel uncomfortable or, you know, out of sorts or out of place or whatever, and this was not like that. I don't think I've ever been where there was more solemn humility and beautiful reverence. I think the only thing similar to it was when I have been in the presence of and done certain rituals that were Tibetan Buddhist, but it didn't have the same internal expression within me of resonating on this incredibly higher level. So when they got to the liturgy and they rang the bells, I just thought I was going to fall over. Really, I was knocked out. And I don't even know how I stood the whole time because, I mean, like I said, I was feeling, oh, come here, sweetie. I was feeling really weak, and I didn't even think I could, I mean, I was having trouble standing doing dishes for like 10 minutes, you know. So, one of the things that, I mean, and you had said sort of before, but it still shocked me that, you know, these were all these psalms, and that these are things that I kind of accidentally sing walking around my house all the time, like, and in the same tunes. And then, like, when they were singing in Arabic, I knew exactly what was going on, and when they were singing this part in English and that part, and there was Greek, and every language was like, I understood what was going on at the time. And I didn't have to, like, look through the book and go, where are we? No, I knew exactly. Because I was home. And when I looked up and I saw the white raised portion with all of the open to natural light windows, that was what I pictured. That was what I was thinking or wanting or hoping to see when I was looking up at the inside of it with the greatest name in Arabic calligraphy, which is gorgeous unto itself, but this was what I was actually picturing. So I was sitting and meditating at one point because it was time we could sit down, and someone tapped me on the shoulder just really softly, and I didn't jump. I wasn't upset. I wasn't disturbed by it at all. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so different. And then I stood most of the time. Sometimes I was just totally crying. I couldn't help but cry. But then at the end, of course, they're like, so who's the visitor? And of course, I was asked last, so total embarrassment, right? Because you hope that when you have to introduce yourself that maybe you're like at the beginning so people forget about you and kind of you'll be able to sneak out, you know. Not the case. I was the last person, so everyone knew my name and everybody knew it was the first time because I said this is the first time I've ever been in an Orthodox church. So immediately afterwards, this lady named Donna came over and we just were instant friends. Instant friends. And we're talking about all different kinds of things and we understood each other just completely. And then she invited me to like coffee. But before that, she brought me up to meet Nixon or Phillip, Reverend Nixon. Ha ha ha. And he gave me a blessed bread. And he touched me on the shoulder and he welcomed me and he patted me. I didn't jump. I didn't wince. I wasn't scared. I wasn't upset. So at this little center that's next to it, we all went for coffee or whatever, and there were all kinds of things laid out. And when Dawn and I were chatting, she talked about that she's Ukrainian. And so there it was, exactly the opposite of everything that I had ever been told by people who were just lying to me out of ignorance. They had no idea that, of course. Oh my gosh. So I sat and I chatted with her, and I was introduced to all kinds of ladies, and we were all kissing each other on the cheeks, which I like love because I remember that so much. And it was just really pleasant. And some of the conversation was light and easy, and then other parts of it were incredibly deeply, talking about theology and beautiful, beautiful concepts, and we both just appreciated each other's points of view. So then, as I was leaving, he wanted to talk to me again. So I said, "Oh, okay, well, I'll be right back." So I went and I took care of some things, and then I came back, and I got to sit down with him. And he asked me, "So what have you been doing, and how'd you get here, and all this kind of thing." And I explained some of, my background, and we talked about some things, and it was really comforting and really nice. So now I have somebody to ask my billion questions to, because he gave me his email. So yeah, I experienced the impossible. And especially so because there's a portion where it says in here that if you bear like ill will towards anyone, like don't receive the communion, which obviously if you're not Orthodox you can't receive it anyways, but I thought to myself, oh my gosh, how will I ever get to that place, And when I would try to even introduce or concentrate on that kind of upset that I have, ill will towards certain people, what have you, it would be dissipated and transmuted and totally engulfed in so much love that it didn't even exist. And even now it's kind of like this weird echo that I can remember, but it's not something that I can do. So the only other thing I could say is that, remember when I was talking with you about like when the physical gets graduated to another realm, I guess you could say? That's exactly what I experienced today. So now I know what you mean. Now I understand. So that was the Christmas gift, I guess, or the lesson nativity of the flesh, like you said. I don't know, whatever, I get the words wrong. So thanks for showing me that things aren't impossible. And I wish you the best and peace on your heart, and I trust you're having a really beautiful Christmas. Take care.